Okay, so in this question it says, in a group of 20 girls, 13 take history and 8 take economics. 3 girls take both history and economics as shown in the following Venn diagram. Values of P and Q represent numbers of girls. Alright, so we've got our Venn diagram here. Here we've got the universal set, which is the box. So all of the 20 girls would have to be placed inside this box. Then it says 13 take history. History is represented by this circle here. So within this circle there must be 13. And then it says 8 take economics. So within this circle there should be a total of 8. Then anybody else will have to be outside here. So if we look, question 8 says find the value of P. So P is this number here. So all we need to do here is we know that 13 take history. So this total must be 13. Since we've already got 3 here, that would leave 10 here for P. So P will be equal to 10. We then do similarly to work out Q. So we know that 8 in total take economics, so this would be 8, which means there would be 5 in this section because there's 3 here already, so I'd need 5 here. Then, if I know, let me just write the 10 on, I've got 10 in here. So then there's 10 here, 3 here, 5 here, that's 18. And to the total of 20 would leave me 2 outside here. So that means that Q would equal 2. Alright, then the second part, B, it says a girl is selected at random. Find the probability that she takes economics but not history. So, economics but not history would be this number here. So here, this region is economics, but this one is history. So economics but not history will be the region I've circled here. So that would be 5 girls out of a total of 20. So that would equal, 5 out of 20, which we could then simplify to be 1 out of 4. Okay, so in this question we have a function that says let f of x equal 5x, and then there's another function that says and let g of x equal x squared plus 1 for x, and then it's got this symbol here. What this means is for x is all real numbers, so any real number would be allowed, so anything as long as it's not involving negative square roots is acceptable. So first part says find the inverse function of x. So the way we would do this is if we wrote we've got f of x here is 5x, and then we want inverse function of f of x. So if I was to write y is equal to 5x for the function of x, and then if I switch around the x and the y, I could say that x is equal to 5y. Then I would rearrange this equation to get it so it said y is equal to. So what I would do here is I would just divide both sides by 5, and I would then get y is equal to x over 5, and then that would be my inverse function. So f minus 1 of x would equal x divided by 5. That would be part A. Part B, it then says find FOG of 7. So what this means is first of all do the function g with 7, and then take the answer and put that into function f. So what that means is do f of g of 7. So I can just put 7 into this one, work out what I get, and then take the answer and put that into this one and then see what I get. So that would equal f of, and then that's going to be 7 squared, which is 49, plus 1. So that's going to equal f of 50. And f of 50 is going to be 5 times 50, which is going to equal 250. Now, if you wanted to, you could work out what f of g of x was first of all, and then put the 5 in, but either way you're just going to get this 250 here. What have I written there? I've written, I don't want to write that, do I? What I want to write here should be equals, like that. Okay, either way you're going to get this answer 250. Okay, in this question it says the following diagram shows triangle PQR. here, PQR. And then it's told us that PQR is 30, which is this angle here. QRP is 45, which is this angle here. And then PQ is 13, which is this angle here. And the question asks us to find PR. So what we need to do is find the length of this side here. Now, in this case, you can see that we've got a side and angle pair. So this is a side, and this is the angle opposite it. This makes a side and angle pair. And then we've got the angle opposite the side we're trying to find. So this is a candidate for using the sine rule. Now, the sine rule states that sine A over A is equal to sine B over B. Now, you can also, if you want to, flip that up the other way and say that A over sine A is equal to B over sine B. Either way up. What I would tend to do, since we're looking for a side here, I would tend to use this form because that will involve less algebra. Use this form rather than this form because that will involve a little bit less rearranging, because what we're looking for would be one of the sides. If I was looking for an angle, then I would use this form here. But we're looking for a side, so I'm going to use that side. So I'm going to apply the sine rule, and it's going to say that PR, what have I done there? PR over the sine of 30 degrees is going to equal 13 over the sine of 45 degrees. Now, you'll be expected to know what the sine of 30 is and what the sine of 45 is. Since you're not allowed a calculator on this one, you should know what sine of 30 is and sine of 45. So I'm going to write those down over here. Sine of 30 degrees is equal to 1/2, and the sine of 45 degrees is equal to the square root of 2 over 2. So I can then rearrange this and say that PR is going to equal 13 sine 30 degrees over sine 45. Like so. So PR is therefore going to equal 13 times the 1/2 divided by the square root of 2 over 2. So PR is therefore going to equal, I can cancel this half with this half here, cancel this with this because they're both effectively divided by 2, multiplied by half, so it's 13 over the square root of 2. No. 13 over the square root of 2, and then what I do with that is I multiply the top and bottom by the square root of 2, and that is going to give me 13 square root 2 over 2. This question here says Jim heated a liquid until it boiled. He measured the temperature of the liquid as it cooled. The following table shows its temperature D degrees Celsius T minutes after it boiled. So it means we start off here with the temperature of 0 minutes and the temperature is 105. After 4 minutes it's 98.4, after 8 minutes it's 85.4, and so on. First question says write down the independent variable. So the independent variable is the variable that we change, or that changes, and the dependent variable would be the one that we measure. So the independent variable, the one that we change, or the one that changes, that is T. The other one, D, would be the dependent variable, because this would be the one that we measure. So the independent one is the one we control, or the one that changes, and D is the one that we measure and see what happened. So D would be what we measure, and T would be the dependent variable, because that's the one that changes. Then it says write down the boiling temperature of the liquid. So if we just go back to the question, it says Jim heated the liquid until it boiled. So that means that it's going to start boiling, and then he measured the temperature of the liquid as it cooled. So at time T is 0 is when it's going to be boiled. So when it boiled would be this one here. So the temperature is going to be 105 degrees C. Then it says, Jim believes that the relationship between D and T can be modelled by a linear regression equation. Jim describes the correlation as very strong. Circle the value below which best represents the correlation coefficient. So correlation coefficients, we've got some possible numbers here. Correlation coefficients, if it's positive value and close to 1, that represents a strong positive. So this one is going to be strong and positive. This one is still going to be positive because it's a positive number, but it's going to be much weaker. So this one here would be a weak. And positive. This one here is no correlation. So I'm just going to write none. This one here would be weak but negative. So I'm going to write weak and minus, and then this one would be strong and negative. Okay, now if we look at our data here, we can see that as T increases, D decreases. So this is a negative correlation. T is increasing, D is decreasing, so that's a strong negative correlation. So the answer we would need would be this one. Okay, next. Let's scroll down here. Part C says Jim's model is D is equal to minus 2.24t plus 105 for t is between 0 and 20. Use this model to predict the decrease in temperature for any 2-minute interval. So we have the equation D is equal to negative 2.24t plus 105. So what we're looking for, decrease in temperature, is going to be dd by dt. How the temperature changes with time, because we're looking for a decrease in temperature over a time interval. So we're going to look for how the temperature changes with time, which means basically I'm going to differentiate this. So dd by dt is going to equal negative 2.24. Now what this is then essentially the change in temperature per minute, because it said back at the beginning that time in temperature in degrees, T minutes after it boiled. So that means the change every minute is going to be, so we've got 2.24 degrees C decrease every minute, which means that over 2 minutes it's going to be 2 times that, so it's going to equal 4.48 degrees C.